You can kiss my additives.
Welcome back to another episode of It's Too Bad, the show where we watch the worst movies and try to find their silver linings. My name is Jason.
I'm Ted, and I am upset that we had to watch this movie. This movie we're doing is Foodfight, and the story of Foodfight, how Foodfight came to be, is one that is impressive. Resilience.
Yeah.
Resilience of this is impressive. They got a bunch of celebrities. They started making this movie, then they were broken into, and all of their footage was taken. So they had to start over again. But then they didn't meet the deadline, so they were canceled. But this guy continued to push through, and then they defaulted on a loan and had to sell it. And then finally they put it out in whatever it was, the final product, they put that out into stores where we now can see it.
Look on the Wikipedia page or even the IMDb page, and you can see an intensely detailed backstory to this film.
The backstory of the film is the film we should be watching.
Right.
That's the film I want to see. How
Exactly.
this film even made it to our screen is impressive. The film itself is not.
This is our first animated feature that we watched on this show, and ooh, we stepped in it.
Might be the last. Goodness.
This might put us off of
It's a 3D movie, and it feels like it wasn't rendered properly, or it was in the first stages of being animated. So you can see them as they're walking around, but they have different movements, and it's because I don't think they were fully done with it yet,
Right.
but they had to. That's what the product they gave us. It's grotesque. Okay,
To say the
it's
least.
absolutely grotesque.
really
Even
is.
if this was polished,
Yeah.
these people would look awful.
Yeah, animation definitely horrible.
Right.
When we got Toy Story, every other person that was trying to do computer animation was doing very poor computer animation. You looked at Toy Story and you're like, wow, that's amazing. They were leaps and bounds. And it kind of feels like it fits right in that era, maybe a couple years later, where they've got some things figured out. They can do some modeling, but the motions, they're just not there.
Yeah.
Or also, like any Christian computer animated film that you might see this year.
That's what it looks like. If you've ever seen the Toy Story test or the bloopers that didn't go right, that's what it looks like. The story is about icons of these supermarket products.
Right.
They have this world that they live in, and their whole goal is to not get discontinued.
Basically.
So, but they have no control over that.
No.
Look, they didn't plan this out. I'm trying to explain it.
No.
You can't.
It takes place in a supermarket.
Okay.
And what happens at night, and so you think instantly of Toy Story, the toys, but these are the products. They're not the products. The products stay on the shelves and don't do anything. These are, they say the Ikes, the icons, but they're really just the mascot for the brand. They're the soul of the product, and when the icon dies, the soul is gone, the product is discontinued and no longer on the shelves for people to love.
So what in the real world makes that happen?
You would think that that's a matter of corporate.
Yeah, you would think there's
situation.
going to be something. There's a line there.
There's human interaction or human, dealings that would bring that about.
And there was a human dealing that brought something about. There's a creepy, creepy man that busts through this door, who's the villain, who's played by, you told me, Christopher Lloyd.
Yes. Besides Christopher Lloyd, we have Eva Longoria playing the main antagonist, and then you have Charlie Sheen as our protagonist, who plays basically McGruff the crime dog, but he's a detective dog for cereal.
Yeah, and this isn't Charlie Sheen now. This was Charlie Sheen back when he had 2.5 Men. Like this is like the height of Charlie Sheen, and he's like, I'm gonna sign on to this movie.
Dude. Wayne Brady, Jerry Stiller, Cloris Leachman, like people of every generation. Ed Asner is in this movie. Come on.
And you think at this point you could at least make a good product for them. And since this is the show, we have to find what's good in it. We can talk about how bad it is all day.
And we will.
We will in the podcast. Come check us out. But for this show, this purpose, what was good about this movie?
You'd think with all these people, veteran actors and up and comers and whatever, you have Wayne Brady, who can basically do anything.
Right.
Charlie Sheen's voice acting was as good as Charlie Sheen's ever done in anything Charlie Sheen has been Charlie Sheen in.
Sad but true, yes.
The only case that ever really mattered, and I couldn't solve it. Now she's gone. Sunshine. My only sunshine.
I wasn't mad at Charlie Sheen for that.
No.
Wayne Brady, on the other hand, he owned that character.
Yeah.
But I hate that that was Wayne Brady.
Okay. I hated that character so much.
Yeah.
Every time he was on the screen, I cringed because it just, what he says and how he says it and his whiny little attitude, the whole film, I couldn't handle it. So other than Wayne Brady, there's really no inflections on anyone's voice. It was kind of the same all the way through.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Sheen, every once in a while, he would say something like, oh yeah, that's Charlie Sheen.
Right.
Why is Charlie Sheen in this? And you start hearing other people and you go, what is happening?
Yeah.
How could this be? But you're right. I think for character acting, that might be as good as we're going to get out of this film for greatness.
I think they tried really hard to make a story that made sense, and they blew it.
Yeah.
So many things don't line up. At night, you see their world, which is the aisles of the store are the streets. But it's not the aisles like you would see in Toy Story. It's this whole world that it's actual streets and actual buildings. And so how do the two go together? And they're not supposed to go to the real world, but they end up in the real world. They supposedly can't interact with humans, but they do. And the female villain, she says, well, she can interact with whoever because look what I look like. And which is
creepy.
Just a cop out.
Well, yeah, and she's this. What is she? This tall?
Yeah, teeny tiny.
So she can go talk to humans, and they're going to believe her because of what she looks like, this tall. So they created this. Charlie Sheen read it. All these other actors read it and said, "This is what I want to sign on to."
They had like a $45 million budget for this film, and see the way it turned out.
It's disappointing.
It's really disappointing.
Yeah.
You're kind of sold on this movie because you think you're going to go in and see.
Yes.
These mascots for these brands. The poster that's on Amazon is all these brands in a shopping cart. You got Charlie Tuna and Mrs. Butterworth and Mr. Clean and Twinkie the Kid.
Yeah.
And
but they're the C-list people in the movie.
Right.
You don't even hear them speak really.
No, only I think Mrs. Butterworth and the Chiquita Banana Lady, who doesn't look like the Chiquita Banana Lady,
not at all.
Even have lines. I think they were really trying to not get sued for using these characters.
Right.
They didn't get paid, they said, to actually, promote these brands. They just wanted these icons in this movie. And we didn't get them. Every single main character is a made-up mascot for a made-up brand. And they're just kind of in the back, just like any product placement in any film would be.
I would have loved to go see, even if it was terrible animation, to see the actual brand people be there. Like Tony the Tiger or whatever, you would expect those people to be in it, and they weren't. You can see Mr. Clean sit in the background. He might be the best animated character.
Oh, yeah.
And he always gets things thrown on him.
Right.
That's the joke. And it's like, ha, ha, ha. And then all the rest of the characters are these like the weasel.
He looked like a roasted chicken.
I mean, I don't have kids, but I wouldn't show this to my kid on a few levels, but just the animation style level, it is absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
This is filled with sexual innuendo.
It's filth. That's what I thought you were going to say, because that's what it is.
Yeah, it really is. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I know movies nowadays, animated comedies, they throw a little sexual innuendo here or joke for the audience here or the adults. But no, this is full on sleaze.
Oh, mamacita! Yo, sweet cakes! Oh, nice packaging! How about some chocolate frosting?
Get a shelf life.
I like to butter your muffin.
It's not okay.
No, it's not okay. And you think if it was just one time, maybe we could give it a pass. Maybe I would just be like, oh, there was the joke for the adults. But no.
Or if it was just one character.
But all of them. All of them are sexually charged characters. Every single one. You have the X company that are the Nazis. They full on are goose stepping with the Nazi accents. And then you have the Jewish crowd in this movie as well. So they literally bring in a Jewish doctor. And
it was just a giant nose, guys. And I tried to just let that slide, but they made it a point at the end of the movie to let you know that he's definitely Jewish.
Yeah. How does this get passed? How
Who were they answering to, I guess? They weren't answering to anybody.
Right, that might be. They thought Nazis, Jews, and sexually charged characters were a great idea for a children's story.
Besides voiceovers, there's hardly anything else that's great in it. I would say that while the takes of the dialogue aren't great,
Right.
The audio wasn't off-putting in a way that it would be in a James Wan film or Samurai Cop, where you're just like, whoa, it threw me out.
Right.
That never happened. And even the Foley in this, and there was a lot of Foley, it was effective. It was done well. So you have to give them that. Whoever did the audio and whoever was Foley artist on this, they did their job. It's sad that nobody else did, or that they don't have something to show for it, because I would be embarrassed if I worked on this film.
I want to say something nice, but I can't. And I think that's really the problem with this movie. And we've said nice things even about Manos and Birdemic and the movies that we've done. It just, this one, I think with marketing it as a kid's movie, if you want to put this as, Sausage Party, go for it. But marketing as a kid's movie, I think it wasn't very smart on their part.
On the show, we do a rating system where we are anywhere from here, which is, it's too bad you didn't give it a shot because it's not that bad, to here, which is, it's too bad to watch ever. And we've been right at there with things like Manos and Birdemic.
Absolutely.
And to me, there's no question. It's down there with it. It might even be worse than Manos or Birdemic. It might be the worst movie I've seen for the show.
Yeah.
And it's not just the style. It's not just its shortcomings technically. It's the fact that it made me so uncomfortable when it shouldn't have. It wasn't trying for that. It's not a movie that tries to push the envelope and make you think or feel something. It is supposed to be this lighthearted fare that for children,
supermarket.
For my children. And I'm so glad I did. I thought about showing my 5-year-old, like watching it with her because it's a cartoon.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm so glad I didn't, because it would have been the most uncomfortable thing I've ever experienced.
I'm right there with you. I didn't think we'd find another film worse than Manos, because that is, without riff tracks, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. We found it. I will not be watching. It is there, obviously. I will not be watching this again. I cannot even recommend it to people to just joke about. Like, oh, did you see Foodfight? I'm going to be like, oh, I did, and why did you? And that's the problem. And you shouldn't see this, but if you're going to, it's on Amazon Prime. All right, if you like this, go ahead and like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave your comments below. We'll be back in 2 weeks right here with another video. And if you'd like to check out what else we have to say about Foodfight, which I'm sure there's plenty, you can look at our podcast next week. We hope to see you there.